Welcome back, folks. It is the final 3 at 3 of the week. It is 8/20, August 20th, 2021. I am Jon Najarian. Let's get started. There was my brother Pete, along with Bryn Talkington, Rich Saperstein, and crew on the halftime report today. It was a good show, enjoyed it a lot. And they had a lot of good discussions. That's Jenny Harrington, by the way, as well as Scott Wapner there. First trade today is Activision Blizzard. Pete cited the unusual call activity with the stock trading at about 83.09 on the halftime report. There you see the year to date, basically 91 to 105 and just, kind of flopping around across. Year to date down about 10%. 83 was where the stock was when we saw 6,000 of the September 87 calls changing hands rapidly. That's $4 above the market. If this is the first time that you've watched 3 at 3, you know I didn't buy those calls. I like buying an at the money call, selling an out of the money call against it, and hoping to capture the differential between those two strike prices, which is what I did in this case. So ATVI bullish call buying stocks 83. They're buying upside calls with basically 5 weeks to live. There it is, 82.58. Been between 82.22 and 83.67 so far today. A good turnover of 4.6 million shares. Second trade of our 3 at 3 is iShares, China large cap, FXI. I don't blame Pete. Pete was saying, I don't have a strong conviction, but they're buying a lot of these calls. The reason that I'm right in there with Pete on this is that China hasn't gotten out of its own way. They are their own worst enemy as far as the valuations of these Chinese large cap stocks. But after the severe decline that they've seen, I wouldn't be surprised to see a bounce. They're picking for a short-term bounce, buying September 39 calls. I don't mind buying those. So I did jump in here. Stock was 38.50. September 39 calls, that's what they were buying. There it is, basically same price, 38.65. I like it, but look at that fall off, folks. And many of you know that I have talked about this, ASHR, KWeb, Alibaba, Didi, a host of these Chinese large cap names that have just been crushed. And with it down here, seeing what may be a double bottom right around this level, because look at that July fall off when it came all the way down here before and then rallied up to 42. I'll play for that, especially at the prices that I can get in for today. So that is the second of my 3 at 3 today. And the third is Gap stores. These are calls that expire next week. I forgot to put the 27th ahead of them, but that is the expiration. Next Friday is the 27th of August. Gaps, they're buying with the stock at 28, 11,000, that's 1.1 million share equivalent. I like following big money trades. 1.1 million share equivalent, August 29 calls. Yeah, that'll get my attention, but I'd rather buy the 28s and sell upside if we get that that follow through after the buying. We've only seen an 11-cent rise. That's not quite enough for me to say, let me start slamming out some calls. But if we push into the 29 zone, which I hope that we could over the next trading session or so, I will be selling upside calls against the calls that I bought. If you have questions, please direct them to me on Twitter. I appreciate it. I am happy to answer your questions, even if you're critical of trades. Understand, folks, that not every trade is a winner. We're hitting about 78% this year of our trades are winners. That means 22% are not. You can't eat like a bird and crap like an elephant. So if you are taking $1 profits, you have to be cutting losses at that same level. And if you do, you're going to be in the game for a long time. If you do not, if you let these run all the way against you when you're wrong, when I'm wrong, if you followed me, well, that's not a good way to play. So what I do is I cut my losses at a 50% drawdown for an option trade. So if I pay $1.50, by the time it's 80 cents, I am out. If I pay $1.50 and it doubles to $3, I will take profits off the table, 50% usually, unless it's a very short-term trade. And then I'll let the rest run, and I will snug a stop loss underneath as it's running to the upside, so that I can take as much money off the table as possible, let them run as far as possible. So I'm just kind of throwing that out yet again, because I can't pull the trigger for you. I can tell you what I do. All right, at Jon Najarian on Twitter is my handle. Let's see, this question comes from Jonathan Ritter. Three's Company, I guess. No, just kidding. And sadly, that actor passed away. But this Jonathan Ritter, whose handle is at JONATHANREITE11, I went all in on energy in June, and it's costing me a lot now because I bought the top. But I'm hanging in there. I don't use leverage or options, so I can make some nice returns. Happy for you, sir. I think you're getting a nice little pop out of some of these today. I like U.S. energy more than I like international energy. And so I don't disagree. And I know that I responded to somebody on Twitter that was blaming Tom Lee and Fundstrat. And I said, it's up to you to be disciplined, just as I described. You can't blame Tom Lee at Fundstrat, not that Jonathan is, but you can't blame Tom Lee because he's not the one that got you in or is going to get you out. You are. So make sure that you exercise discipline on entries and exits, folks. 5K, Will, whose handle is at IAMSIACA, says, who would win a 5K, you or Pete Najarian? Pete is by far the better athlete. However, Pete played 6 years in the NFL. And for those of you who know that Pete played 6 years in the NFL as a linebacker, you know the NFL takes a toll on all of your body. He's broken, I believe, all of his fingers at least once. He's had multiple knee operations and so forth. So Pete's not likely to run a 5K or a 10K. I could do it. And it's not that I'm a better athlete than Pete, it's that I have better knees. I only played 4 games. He played 6 years. So that is how I'd answer it, that Pete would win, especially Pete in high school would dust me. Pete in college would dust me. Pete, after a game playing for the Seahawks, Vikings, Tampa Bay Raiders, or whomever, those are 4 of the teams he played for, that poor guy has knees like a 70-year-old man. So no, he's not going to be winning any 5Ks or 10Ks, but he is still the better athlete, even today. And ERJ, let's get to this one because this is Embraer. This is the Brazilian company that jets. They make regional jets. Whoops. The question comes by way of at MTB for MISOUL. I see you talk about ERJ. It's held up well through Delta, the variant, while the entire travel stocks were down. Would you suggest doubling my position, holding or selling? Holding. Although if your average price is 4 and it's in the teens, I wouldn't mind taking some off the table. But yeah, Embraer, regional jets are still very popular. And the more efficient that they, as the new ones are, the more that people want them. And you pay the pilots less, believe it or not. So makes them all the more efficient. So yes, I like ERJ. I think demand is still strong here. And that's going to do it for this week. It's a wrap. You can join Market Rebellion by going to marketrebellion.com/get started. That is marketrebellion.com/get started for more. So I encourage you to do that, folks. I hope you have a great afternoon, a fabulous weekend, and I look forward to seeing you next week on Market Rebellion Television. Adios.